Hey folks, it's Jim, it's Julie, it's the J-Team, it's Geeking Out episode 221. Welcome to the show, everyone. Let's get to some comic reviews and a little bit of news later on, shall we?
First up today, all new X-Men #1.
Oh, it's going to be a Marvel week this week, folks.
It's Marvelous Marvel for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think... Do you have any Marvel?
No Marvel for me.
What
All for
Marvel?
You. Yeah.
So... in this...
But amazingly, I have a DC book. Yes. So, let's get to this one first.
In Marvel's new, all new X-Men #1, we jump in right at the end of AVX Consequences #5. So we're dealing with all of the changes that have happened because of the Avengers vs. X-Men storyline.
Yeah.
That we've spent the last 6 months in, I think.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
So we start off seeing Scott Summers, better known as Cyclops, hanging out with Emma Frost and Magneto. And we've got Beast, Kitty Pryde, Iceman, and Storm at the Jean Grey Institute for Higher Learning. And... I don't want to give away too much because it's very easy to spoil this book. Mm-hmm. But the rough outline of the story is that we are going to see the original X-Men meeting the current day X-Men.
Okay.
And it's really cool how they do it. Basically, not trying really hard not to give away too much. Beast breaks the laws of space and time.
Well, he's known to do that. He is a scientist.
He's that awesome that he breaks the laws of space and time. Mm. And he's bringing the original X-Men back in hopes of saving Scott. It's really cool. I'm probably going to follow it. Hey,
Scott, remember when you weren't such a douche back in the 60s?
Yeah, you remember when you used to be the conscience and the sense of morality on our team? Yeah, let's bring that back. So we're going to see the Boy Scout Scott Summers back, and I'm pretty excited for that. It was a good book. I liked the art. I really don't have anything negative to say about it. I really am enjoying the Marvel Now stuff.
I have one question about the book, though, having looked at it.
All right.
How do the X-Men show up every time a new mutant uses their powers for the first time?
Well, every part, like every side... The X-Men side and the Magneto side, I think, has that quintessential mutant who has the ability to know when new mutants are formed.
But they just show up. How do they do...
Magic?
Yeah.
Mutations?
Yeah.
I mean, in this one, the scene you're talking about, it did occur over the course of approximately 20 hours. Hmm. It wasn't the instantaneous that it first appeared. So there is time there for them to go from somewhere in the States to Gold Coast, Australia.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting how they always seem to manage to show up just at the most crucial moment. But it wouldn't be a good story without it.
That's superheroes for you, though.
Exactly.
Always there at the most crucial moment.
All new X-Men #1, part of Marvel Now's launching. It's good. Give it a try.
All right. Next up, we have Borderlands Origins #1. And this one is for fans of the Borderlands games. A lingering question has been asked by the fans of the game. Just how did Roland and the other Vault Hunters get on the bus with Marcus in the first place?
Ooh, I know. Magic?
No.
Oh. Science?
No. They just got on the bus.
Oh. Well, that's less exciting and fun.
Yes. But,
I like mine better.
Yes. Yours much better. Alright, so I've never played the games, alright? I will freely admit I have never played Borderlands.
Alright, guys.
However...
So this is the point where you take a moment and you pretend that Jim is Julie and he's about to say, I don't know anything about this, but jumping in right now.
Oh no, here's the thing though.
Okay.
One of my roommates, however, is a gigantic Borderlands fan who plays it for hours and hours on end.
So you have at least a little bit of an understanding of what's going on.
I got a crash course last night in a bit of the history and stuff. So
That's not so bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad. So I learned who these characters are and stuff like that, and I learned their things and everything. So yeah, this is a good origin story, if anything, about these particular characters in the Borderlands universe. Now, there's a bunch of characters in this book that have nothing to do whatsoever with anything, and they all die, so...
I'm sure that it's quintessential character development for Roland.
Exactly the point. So, yeah, I mean, if you are a Borderlands fan, and you want to know about your favorite characters, this hopefully will answer some of your questions. So check it out if you're a fan of Borderlands, but honestly, if you don't play the game, then there's really no reason for you to check this one out.
Except that the art is pretty decent.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
For what you've been reading and what I was reading this week, it's probably one of the better books for art.
Yeah.
I'm coming around to sketch art. Speaking of...
some of the worst art this week.
Yes. X-Men Legacy #1. And this is another Marvel Now title. This book focuses on David Haller, who is Charles Xavier's son. And David Haller is probably the most powerful mutant the Earth has known. There's just one...
They haven't met me yet.
Are you holding out information?
Well, you've met the puppet, right? I have the mutant ability to turn into puppets!
Yes, because that's the most powerful thing ever.
Well, if you can find a better way to make a child smile, I'd like to see it.
Candy? Free comic books?
I can do both of those with a puppet.
I can do both of those with a smile. Anyways, getting back, David Haller is the main character of this book. He is Charles Xavier's son. Most powerful mutant the Earth has seen, with one very small flaw. He's crazy.
Oh, so he is just like me. All right,
like, absolutely certifiable, paranoid, schizophrenic crazy. Which gives this book a very, very interesting feel, because you actually get a literal look inside his mind. And how
what a mess it is.
Yes. He's been studying in the Himalayas with a guru who's taught him how to deal with the alternate personalities.
Well, there's his problem.
But
there's no internet there. You'd go crazy in minutes, man.
I'd go crazy, I know.
Yeah.
But he's been taught how to tap into his alternate personalities' powers, and essentially has formed a prison for them in his mind. It's really cool. If you can get past the art, the story looks like it's going to be there. So give it a chance.
Yeah.
I was able, by the end, I felt like the art really helps the story in this case.
Though I do believe it's probably the most mediocre art this week out of all the books.
Yeah, it's not great. It doesn't hinder the story at all. What I found was more of a hindrance was them bleeping out the curses.
Which is not really necessary.
Exactly. Writers, if you're going to curse, curse. If you're not going to curse and you're just going to bleep it out, leave it out of the story. It doesn't help.
And if you are going to curse, just make the book a higher rating.
Yeah. Just own it.
Yeah.
The cursing, or the bleeped out cursing, did not have any effect in the book at all.
If it's done for comedy's sake, then sure, I'm okay with that. But it generally does not work.
Yeah, I just really felt like the bleeped cursing took away from the story more than it added to it. And it would have been a better story had they just wrote it without the symbols and the hashtags and all of that.
Yeah.
But, good story. Give it a chance. Maybe we'll see some great, maybe we'll see less bleeping next time.
Alright, next up we have Great Pacific #1. And
was this a great book?
It was okay. In this one, Chaz Worthington dreams of big things and making his mark on the world. But no one takes the 21-year-old heir to an oil fortune seriously until he turns his back on his cushy life and seeks to solve an environmental crisis known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yay!
So
I like environmental responsibility.
yes, but he fakes his own death to do this.
So, I mean, everybody's gotta have their thing.
Yep. This is an interesting character study, though. I will say that much.
Yeah? Imagine what he has to go through if his final way to get out of this situation and be able to do what he feels is his calling is by faking his own death.
Yep.
That's just kind of cool. Like, that is dedication to your cause.
No, I agree. And this book has a lot of interesting character tropes and stuff like that. So this is a very compelling character and a compelling story, because just this kid is trying to do what's best. But of course, everyone's like, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. Who cares about the environment? It's all about the money. Meanwhile, this kid wants to solve these problems that, well, everyone has.
Yeah.
Because it affects us all. So I like that. I really do. It's well written. It's beautifully drawn.
I agree. I really enjoyed the art.
There's a lot of really good stuff in here that has just a really good scope to it. And I like that. Character-wise, it's great. Chaz is really fleshed out here, and you get to know a bunch of the other characters as well on a really good personal level, so it really works well as a story.
Cutting in here, I notice on the back of the book the rating is M for mature.
Yeah.
Does it live up to that rating?
I wouldn't really say so, no. I'd say it's more of a teen book than anything, but
okay, well, maybe it'll grow into the rating.
It might turn into an actual mature reader's book, but quite frankly, I'd say anyone in their teens be well suited to check this one out, especially if you're in this type of a situation that no one will listen to you and that kind of thing. But this is a great first issue, another one from Image, which is getting a lot of really great new books out.
They're doing some great things with their 20th anniversary this year? Yeah. They've really gotten some good titles. But
yeah, if you want to check something out that's actually really different and really good in all the ways possible, check this one out. It's really damn good.
Surprise, surprise, from Marvel, we have Fantastic Four #1. And again...
This would be, what, Volume 5, #1 or so?
I think it's only Volume 2. They were up in the high 600s with Fantastic Four.
Well, that's because they renumbered after another... Yeah. But anyway, let's not go into that.
I'm not really delving into the past because they bring you up to speed really well at the beginning of this book.
Which is good.
I'm going to take this moment to comment and say that I really am glad that Marvel isn't going back and changing backstory.
That is fantastic because, quite frankly, with DC doing it really effed things up.
It got really confusing with DC. So I'm happy that Marvel is only starting a new numbering system. They're really taking this moment to bring new readers in, and I'm really happy about that. So, in the beginning of this book, you do get a small introduction to the Fantastic Four and to their kids, and you start off with Patrick Reed. Franklin Reed, sorry, my bad. Franklin.
Yep. It is Franklin.
My apologies. Franklin Reed is having a nightmare, but his parents aren't there.
Richards.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to say this right now, and it's a terrible excuse, but I've had a cold for the last week, and it's kicking my butt. My apologies on this. So Franklin Richards, which is what I have written down, and
this is why we have notes, people,
yes.
But even sometimes we will make mistakes.
He wakes up with a nightmare, but his parents aren't there. They're busy fighting a T-Rex in the Cretaceous period.
Cretaceous.
No, there's definitely an S in there. It's the Cretaceous.
Okay.
If I'm wrong...
then they have a very bad spelling error.
If I'm wrong, then I'll wear a silly hat next week. Something like
you
that.
just wanted an excuse to wear a silly hat.
Anyways, so, the Fantastic Four are busy back in the past fighting dinosaurs,
And Franklin has to be taken care of by robots.
By the mom bots.
If that's not terrifying to a child, I don't know what is. Let us help you. We will hold you.
Well, you figure he grew up with them. It can't be that terrifying.
I don't know. Any other child it would be.
I would have loved to have a mom bot.
Let us use our claws to hold you.
Don't listen to him. Anyways, so in their battle against a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Reed Richards' arm sort of starts to disintegrate. And it's up to him to figure out what's going on. I don't want to give away too much again. However, this book is going to be decent action, high adventure. They tell you that right in the book. I'm pretty excited to see what's going on. My only beef about this is that it looks like it's going to be something that you have to follow FF to be able to follow Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
It looks like you really have to be on both titles to get the whole story, and I'm disappointed in Marvel for that.
Well, that's something they generally do a lot of, though, with many of their titles.
That's really disappointing.
Yeah, but it's what they do.
As a reader, I would be upset by that. Anyways, Fantastic Four #1, good book. I like the direction that they're going with the Fantastic Four, and I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to deal with this. Because, well, I'm not going to say I'm going to let you guys figure out or read it and find out what's going on with the Fantastic Four, because it's a great hook for the story. But, good art, I like the direction, give it a chance.
Alright, next up for me is The Once and Future Tarzan. And now this is a one-shot, and in it, Tarzan finds himself in an unfamiliar place. The future!
Dun dun dun.
Can Tarzan's skills help him battle strange new threats in the half-flooded ruins of future London?
Yes.
Yes, they can. Alright, this book is confusing.
Really?
Oh yeah. Now, I'm a Burroughs fan, as some will know, but I don't remember Tarzan ever being immortal, #1, or traveling to the future, #2. So, there's a bunch here that doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's a comic. I'll take it with a grain of salt and go with it. So, yeah, Tarzan and Jane are now immortals 300 years in the future. In a flooded out London, basically battling against mutants and other tribes and stuff like that.
Interesting.
So, it's an interesting premise. The art here by Yates is a painted style. I know Julie doesn't tend to like it.
Not a fan.
But I quite like it, and it really does work well here for this particular character. I will say.
Fair enough. I think it gives it a nice classic feel.
Yes, and
but as I was
any product that's almost 100+ years old,
yeah,
I think this really works well with it.
I just think that I would have liked to have seen a future Tarzan done in a more modern art style.
That would have been interesting as well, but I don't think it would have worked as well.
Fair enough.
But I will say, if you are a Tarzan fan and you want something that's a little different, this is very different from your standard Tarzan story. So, check this one out if you are a Tarzan fan, but other than that, I can't really recommend it, because to me it really makes no sense. But if anyone knows the whole thing, or if I missed a Tarzan book from way back in my day, let me know, because this confused me a little bit.
Alright. Well, what I was not confused by, but did still involve a lot of time travel, was Thor God of Thunder, #1.
Very nice art here by Esad Ribic.
I was really fond.
Yeah.
And Marvel showed again one of my favorite Marvel things. They do a great job of distinguishing between who is speaking.
Yeah.
I love their use of font. If nothing else, that's my favorite thing that Marvel does, is their use of font is fantastic.
Yeah.
So in this book, we see Thor in 893 AD. We see Thor 1,000 years in the future, but we don't see Thor present day at all. So that was a little bit confusing to me, but I can accept it. They gave us a lot of context for it.
Yep.
So Thor has been called by the Vikings to help them fight against the Frost Giants.
Damn Frost Giants always wrecking our stuff.
And he succeeds, of course, because he's Thor.
Yep.
However, in the aftermath of the party, there's a scream in the night, and they get called out to see this young girl. She looks 12, 13, crying, screaming, because there's a very mutilated corpse in the water.
Oh.
Yes.
Always nice to wake up to.
Very nice. It's a great way to start off the day.
Nice cup of coffee, corpse in the river. Yeah.
Exactly. So we find
Welcome to New York.
We find out from Thor that the body is the body of a god. And Thor now has to deal with the fact that somewhere in the universe, kicking around, is somebody who can kill the immortal gods.
Yep.
It's really good. I enjoyed the art. I enjoyed the story. I'm very intrigued to see where they go with this, because they take it in a great direction by the end of the book. I really think that you guys should jump on this, because it's a good story, and it's a great Thor story to jump in on if you want to know more about him. Good book. Try it.
Alright, and last and certainly not least this week is Ame-comi Girls #2. And in this one, Batgirl and Robin face off against Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and Harley Quinn. Batgirl gets captured and must escape from Duelladent's trap.
Is every character in this book female?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because I
Except
noticed...
for Gordon, but...
I noticed that even the Robin is female.
Yes, Robin is female in this.
Did they make one of the... Like, what did they do with Robin? You gotta tell me. Unless it's going to spoil it.
It's hard to explain.
Okay.
But basically everyone in this Ame-comi universe is a manga or Japanese-style version of the classic characters, but usually always female.
Alright.
So... we get new characters like Duelladent, who's, of course, the Japanese-style Harvey Dent. More kind of Jokerish / steampunky. But, yeah, I mean, it's okay. I read these back when they were online, and I enjoyed them immensely. This was the weakest one, though, for me.
Okay.
Art-wise, especially. Story-wise, by Paul Miotti is okay, but overall, it's just pretty weak with the art. I can't complain too much, but yeah, there's some weak spots in this. And it really shows when you're going through it, and there's some action scenes and they just don't look right. And that's kind of sad, but overall it's a fun adventure nonetheless. But I can't highly recommend it unless you're a #1 an Ame-comi fan, or just a superhero or a female superhero fan in particular. Because at least, hey, they're female superheroes and they're kicking butt, which is always good. Alright, so I can't highly recommend it, but if you, like I said, are a female superhero fan, or just like girls kicking butt, this is the book for you.
Sounds good.
Alright.
On the note of girls kicking butt, Tony Harris.
Oh man, what happened to this guy?
Would you like to give, for the viewers who haven't seen it already, would you like to give them a brief rundown of what's going on?
Basically what happened was Tony Harris posted a rant on his Facebook just a couple days ago, which very much insulted the female fan base. Not in any good way whatsoever. And basically what happened was the female fan base decided to fight back.
Yes.
So, which is great.
You know, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I've read some responses that really fought back. I read some responses that tried to approach it with more understanding.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things is that if you're going to publicly post a rant and you are a well-known figure, your rant should at least be grammatically correct.
Yeah.
I'm judging you for your grammar.
Yeah.
Almost more than anything else, because I get that you're afraid. I get that you're being ignorant about the fact that a lot of your purchasers...
The whole post was very ignorant
yes.
and misogynistic and just fearful of who fans are.
Yes.
And that really sickens me to no end.
Who do you think it is that is willing to spend money on plushies and cute shirts and a lot of paraphernalia?
Honestly, no matter who they are, what their size, their gender, anything.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
People are people.
And that's a great thing, especially in this fandom. You can't judge people for what they like or who they are. It's the stupidest thing you could possibly do, and quite frankly, you killed your freaking career by even saying it. Nor did you apologize for your words. You went on to say that even male fans are that pathetic.
Yep.
And quite frankly, that just...
Nerd culture is supposed to be one of acceptance.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things about our culture, is that we are so accepting of everyone, no matter who they are or what they do. And to judge people like that is just sickening to me. Now, here's the thing. I will say, Tony is not a bad guy. He's just gotta learn to apologize and not say such stupid things.
There's a time and a place for expression of opinion, and I don't feel that this opinion should have been expressed in the manner he chose.
I agree, yes.
And that is my final word on this.
Yeah, but as I will say, what he said is disgusting. End of story. There's no need for that kind of wording or anything to women or men. And quite frankly, I think he needs to apologize. And until then, I say a referendum on Tony Harris comics.
Boycott?
Boycott, yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I am as well. So until Tony learns to maybe, grow up a little and show his maturity by accepting people for who they are, no matter if they are geek or not, then, quite frankly, I'm not going to support him, and neither should you.
I'm going to quote Dr. Seuss, because a lot of my favorite things I learned from Dr. Seuss. A person's a person, no matter how small. That's what it comes down to.
And I shall quote Pink Floyd's The Wall. Together we stand, divided we fall. That's it for this week. We will see you next week. Later.